The White House and much of the rest of the executive branch right now is actually suffering from hundreds of incredibly important high-profile vacancies and positions that need to be filled. And if you ask Donald Trump, he says that that is in no way his fault, and he's going to explain it in this clip.
I am waiting right now for so many people.
You're understaffed.
Hundreds and hundreds of people. And then they'll say, why isn't Trump doing this faster? You can't do it faster because they're obstructing. They're obstructionists. So I have people, hundreds of people, that we're trying to get through. I mean, you see the backlog. Can't get them through. Yeah. And then the newspapers will say, Trump doesn't get them through. Well, it's nothing to do with me. Statutorily, you have to go through this process. So it's been a lousy process. It's taken a long time to get my cabinet done. And as you know, it's not even done now. This is record stuff. You know, we're talking about records in terms of time. And it's very sad. A lot of times I'll say, well, why doesn't so-and-so have people under him or her? The reason is because we can't get them approved.
Okay, unfortunately for him, to quote Donald Trump, that's fake news. That's not actually fake news, but he's lying there. So he said he can't get it done because of those damned obstructionists, and he just says they. He might be referring to both Democrats and Republicans because he has had his fights with them. But as of April 7th, the White House had put forward 24 nominations to fill 533 positions that require Senate approval.
Hundreds.
Not hundreds. 24. Of those 24, 22 have already been confirmed. So it doesn't seem like if they're trying to obstruct, they're not doing a very good job of it at this point. They let through almost every one. You simply haven't put it forward. And I know that you've been talking about how you've read that in sort of a break from past precedent, he's requiring his personal approval for every one of these nominations. Which sounds good, actually. It looks like he's doing work in that case. But if he's only been able to come up with 24 names in 85 days of his administration, that's not a good record. It might take 12, 16 years to fill all these spots.
I would encourage you to read this article from Politico about all the reasons why. It's so many layers. And there's so much irony involved because we're talking about red tape and government bureaucracy and micromanaging, and then he started with the hiring freeze when he first came in, all non-military hires. But then when he put things into place, every story goes back to he just doesn't know how it works. So Chris Christie was in place as part of the transition team to set up all these positions. Yeah. Hundreds to 1,000 people were lined up that would fit. He got rid of Christie, as we all know, right at the inauguration, right afterwards, and put Mike Pence in place because the vice president's job is to do that. So when he came in, he does nothing, and then people put in place the head of the presidential or White House personnel department who's never done it before. He doesn't have enough staff members. The people he's put in place have been dispatched to all the other cabinet position members to oversee these people. Rex Tillerson, Pruitt, all these guys are being overseen by random people who've never done it before because they've also never done this before either, to oversee their hiring practices, so they have nobody underneath them. And actually Pruitt, at one point, he's upset that he can't even, the EPA director, in case you don't know, he's upset because he doesn't even have enough approved personnel to carry out Donald Trump's agenda that would rewrite Obama's climate change regulations. Yeah. So it ends up shooting yourself in the foot. The layers in this article for how many different people who don't know what the hell they're doing, and then are put in positions to tell other people who don't know what the hell they're doing is outrageous. And they fall into the three factions of Kushner, Priebus, and Bannon, and the fourth of Trump, who also is looking at every week they have a meeting. I'm sorry, I was amazed when I read this. Every week they have a meeting where they sit and he goes through, binders of people, not just women. And he goes through and he says, no, they were wrong to me during the election. They were wrong to me during the campaign.
I don't like their haircut.
They said one thing, and a very specific group of these people that he doesn't approve are always national security people who know how to protect us and keep us from being killed. None of them are in place because all of them said, this guy's crazy.
Well, and remember, during the transition, when they were touring, they were walking around the White House, they asked, so how many of these people are gonna be staying on under Trump? None of them, you idiot. Those are Obama's employees. You have to hire new ones. They had no idea. Yeah, and look, there's good side, bad side to this. If you're a progressive and everything that you've seen out of his executive order scares you, then the idea that he doesn't have enough people in the EPA or in the State Department to get it done, that sounds like a good thing. And in a lot of ways it might be. But the government does have to function. It has to do routine work just to keep things going. Some of it is partisan or ideological, but some of it's not. A government is very complicated. There's a lot of moving parts. And if they don't have the people to oversee it, then there can be ripple effects that we may never consciously know are there, but can do a lot of damage across the country. And that's why this should scare even strong progressives.
So I just want to quickly add that we all know, based on the explanations that were given and also by common sense, that obstructionism is not the reason why the White House is short-staffed and that there's so many vacancies. We know that it's because of incompetence and all of that. But the way Maria Bartiromo dealt with that part of the interview, and honestly the majority of the interview, was ridiculous, because what was her follow-up question? You have all the cards in your deck, right? You have Republicans controlling Congress, Republicans controlling the Senate, right? You have no problem getting what you want. You are incompetent, right? Now, I'm not telling her that she should tell him that you're, I think you're incompetent, President Trump, but she should at least follow it up with, hey, but isn't it true that the Senate is controlled by Republicans? Isn't it true that the majority of the people that you want do get confirmed by the Senate? Like, why is it that she will not follow up? And that's the part that drives me crazy.
Because earlier,
come back.
As we saw in another part of the interview, he said, I'll give you this story about how I talked to President Xi because you've been so nice to me.
Young Turks now has over 6 billion lifetime views. You know who did that? You did that. We're now larger than CNN, ABC, you name a news network online, we're larger than them. And you built all that as everyone scoffed and didn't believe. And here we are, guys, thanks to you. Build independent media together with us at tytnetwork.com/join.